Good evening. I'm Joshua Christensen. I want to talk to you tonight about fighting foreclosure. It's a huge problem that we're facing in America right now with all the foreclosures, with bankruptcies that families are facing. I'm going to read an excerpt from my book. This is Consider the Ant, 3 Keys to Biblical Prosperity. What is stewardship? In the New Testament Greek, Jesus uses the word oikonomia, which is the management of a household or of household affairs, specifically the management, oversight, or administration of another's property. He also used the words oikonomos and epitros, which are the actual stewards, managers, overseers, or curators who were given charge over a household or lands. The Old and New Testaments were written in different languages. Our examples of Adam, Noah, and Joseph all come from the Old Hebrew writings. So let's take a look at some of the word choices the Hebrew writers used. In the ancient account of Genesis 39, Joseph is referred to as a pakwad, which is a verb meaning to pay attention to, observe, or attend to. The other word used to describe Joseph's role was as servant, or sharath, meaning to minister or to serve. Equally, both the Old and New Testaments give credence to the idea of stewardship as an act of service towards another man's belongings. In the case of this text, we're examining the idea that God has given us responsibility over His creation and therefore His possessions. It's important to note in each of the cases above that Adam, Noah, and Joseph were all given charge of something that was not their own. Rather, they were given the task of managing and caring for it. I especially appreciate that God placed Adam in the garden to work and take care of it. If God gave this to Adam and expected him to work and care for what he had, how much more should we, with thousands of years of our forefathers working, care for what God has given us? We have example after example of how we should care for that which we've been given. Unfortunately, we live in a society that suffers from entitlement. Entitlement is the attitude that we somehow deserve what we have, or at least what we think we should have. Look at how hard our grandparents and parents struggled to make a living. I recall in my teenage years hearing things like, as long as you live in my house, you'll live by my rules. And when you earn the money, you can do with it what you want with it. Well, guess what? I did. I'm sure many of you did as well. Didn't we struggle to get out of our father's house so that we could make our own rules and get our own things? I don't recall my father telling me, everything in my house is yours to do with as you please. Take a look at this father. My son, Father said, you're always with me, and everything I have is yours. Luke 15:31. What? I never heard that one. Unfortunately, this is a message God has been telling us all along. All we need to do is ask, and it's ours. We fight and fight, thinking we have something to prove to the world. It's no wonder that we struggle with trusting God's provision. We've been fighting with the teaching of our earthly fathers. My father tells me over and over again how he wishes he could have earned the living I enjoy now when he was trying to provide for us growing up. Many have multiple cars, televisions, gaming systems, DVD players, computers, etc., as well as the expectation of getting more. Yet the feeling that this is not enough plagues our society. We live with hyper-sensationalism and hyper-consumerism at its best. We need things faster and more powerful. Fast food, microwave, popcorn, drive-through pharmacies, online dating, online colleges, faster cars, faster computers, and internet speeds, and the list goes on about how we want things faster and faster. We were shopping for Christmas presents this year when out of nowhere, the elderly woman behind my wife started complaining about how slowly the line was moving. She was so impatient that she nearly pushed Belinda out of the way to save 2 minutes while she cut in line. The cashier explained that she needed to get back in line and wait her turn, which made her even more furious. What is our world coming to when we feel so entitled? Mine, mine, mine! It sounds like my 4-year-old yelling at her older sister. We discipline our children, but who's here to discipline us when we get to this point? Have you ever taken something away from your child only to hear them yell and scream about how the toy is theirs? The discipline that follows has a tone of, did you pay for the toy? No, I didn't think so. Your mother and I paid for it. It's ours. You need to recognize that we can take all your toys away if you don't take care of them properly and share. Yes, I'm sure you've had or heard these conversations. I've been guilty of this regularly. Take a look back in Genesis in the garden. When Adam and Eve broke the one sacred rule of not eating from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, they lost their home and paradise. A curse was put on them and on the land in which we live. That was actually the very first foreclosure we ever saw. And it was one simple rule that they didn't follow. Stewardship. This is a concept that's been around since the beginning of mankind. We didn't make the earth or set out the boundaries of the water. We did not breathe life into man. God did all this, and He expects us to work it and care for it as it is all His. Considering that we live in His world and everything we have comes from Him, let's evaluate how we're doing. The primary focus of this book is fiscal stewardship. Therefore, let's keep our eyes on financial matters. However, keep in mind that stewardship is more than just money management. It's also the management of your household, marriage, parenting, time, knowledge, gifts, etc. Stewardship is encompassing many different aspects of our lives. This reading came from Consider the Ant, 3 Keys to Biblical Prosperity. I read pages 38 through 41. I appreciate your time. I hope this has been an encouragement to you and kind of gives you a glimpse into what this book is about, into what my heart is around these matters. When I went through my personal bankruptcy and through my personal foreclosure, the pain that I felt was absolutely terrible, and I don't want anybody to have to experience those things. I hope that this book will encourage you, as it was a great encouragement to me in writing it. So God bless you, and I hope all goes well with you as you consider the way of the ant. Thanks a lot. Have a great night.